Hey traders, Raghee here. You know, our series on the intraday setups into the close have been really popular. Thank you for all the feedback. So in this recap video, we're going to do it again. And you know, we've seen some really interesting breakdowns, but I want to show you one that isn't going so strong right now and what to look for. So in this recap video, let's talk about these end of day, these into the close, into the Asian session open setups. And I do view the indices as a 24-hour beast. I know that it closes between 4:15 and 4:30, and then I prepare for the open in Asia, looking at the Nikkei, Nas, S&P, and Dow. So I'm going to walk you through some of the things that we did today, the positions that we have on right now, and some of the tools that we were using to do it. Now, the YM, I'll start with the YM here. The YM had already rolled over earlier than my preferred time. That was about 3:30 to 3:40 p.m. Eastern. That's when I wanted to take positions into the close and possibly to 4:15 and then into the Asian session. And we had already seen the rollover around 2 p.m. and therefore the first short we saw was about 3:30, and that was actually a swing short. And as long as, you know, when I'm playing the close, the volatility is higher, this would hardly be considered a really classic swing short. I'll start to use the range highs on the 5-minute, meaning my stop is up here. My stop is up here. The ES, let's walk through that one there. Also, this one was a short, but this was what we call that wave reversal, when we take out the 34 EMA on the low. In other words, it's when our swing buy loses its validity. In fact, wave reversals are making lemonade from lemons. A lot of people ask, when do you stop and reverse? The stop and reverse is the wave reversal entry. We took that today. And remember, when we take a wave reversal entry, and we're doing it into the close, you've got to keep in mind the price movement ranges that you're dealing with during that time of day, which on an S&P 500 futures contract is about 3 to 5 points. This isn't the 6, 7, 5 to 7 points you'd see during the open. So you've got to calibrate your expectations to that. One of the things I want to mention here is that I would love to see this market continue lower, because on the 15-minute time frame, heck, I'd love to buy. Now, the way in which we've moved the last 2 days, I will say, I think the Friday session is going to be kind of interesting when you kind of interject that Thanksgiving holiday in here. But I do want to stay fairly long the S&P, but I will do so on shorter term time frames. Shorter term for me really is a 60-minute time frame or less. If we continue to trickle down lower from our end of the day, or I should say the closing entry, again, I'm looking for that area around 25.92 and a quarter, 25.92 and a half to get long on the 30-minute time frame. Then we have the NAS. This one, if you look, was kind of choppy. It is a wave reversal. You could really talk about this as a potential squeeze. I mean, look at the way the market's moving. It does not want to break down. And one of the things we were looking at, take your eyes down to the bottom of my screen. I use very unusual indicators sometimes. I mean, a tick is an interesting indicator. I don't use the tick until we reach the point, the level of decision. In this case, a breakdown of support. Another thing I was looking for was the market to start accelerating down through 173 on Apple. #1 weighted stock by a landslide in the NQ. Notice how I turned Apple into an indicator. It's a very effective way to trade markets when they're not getting help from their heavier weighted or high concentration problem names. Minus acceleration down through 173. Notice what happened to the NQ. In fact, you could see the NQ ebbing and flowing with what was happening with Apple. I still think there's an interesting play here, but it could very well be a momentum play. And how would I know how the Asian market's going to react to their risk environment? I'll keep an eye on the NK. And the NK right now is looking less like a weakness story, which means some of these rollovers may not last very long. If the NK starts to climb higher, I'm going to look for it to take ES, NQ, and YM with it. Another market I can look at for confirmation would be what's happening with dollar yen. I can look at what's happening with euro yen. So the yen, look at the euro yen. Doesn't that look a lot like what we're seeing? This kind of lethargic, kind of waiting to break down, a couple red grab candles. Doesn't this look a lot like our S&P or Nasdaq, even our Dow, but mostly Nasdaq and S&P? You better believe if we're going to see a risk-off reaction, Euro Yen has to head down, okay? So I've given you guys a lot to think about in this recap video, and these are the kind of topics we cover in the morning and in the afternoon. So we had another great clearing range entry. It was just basically a beautiful trend follow. We'll do some more of those discussions, the morning trades that I take in a future recap video. I'll see you in the next update.